Alright, so in this video we're just going to go over a couple of key concepts and stuff that you need to know for the CRCT. It's not going to take you too long, and I'm not going to take up too much of your time. We're just going to talk about governments, economies, and look at a couple maps that you need to know about. So the first type of government that we're going to talk about is a federal type of government, and the first three have to do with the way that governments distribute power between themselves. In a federal type of government, you got a central authority and you have a regional authority. Regional authority will usually be something like a state or a province, and in a federal type government, these regional authorities and the central authorities share power between themselves. In a unitary type government, you got a central authority and you have regional authorities, but they're one unit, one country, and so the central authorities are basically just going to tell the regional guys, states or provinces or whatever, basically just going to tell them what to do, and all of the power is held with the central government. In a confederation, again talking about ways that governments distribute power, in confederation you've got the regional authorities, the states or provinces, or in some cases countries, that tell the central authority what to do. So all of the power is really with the regional guys, and they tell the central people what to do. An example of this would be the Confederate States of America during the American Civil War, but the one that you need to really know about that exists today is the European Union. So countries like France and Spain and Germany, they're the regional authorities telling the central authority, the European Union, kind of what to do. And they do this for the purpose of currency and for trade and going in between borders and stuff like that. So there's not a lot of confederate types of government today, but the European Union is definitely the one that you need to know about. Alright, next three types of governments. You got autocratic, oligarchic, and a democracy. And this is all determined about how governments determine citizen participation. So in an autocratic type government, you've got one person that's in charge in an autocratic type government, and you have low participation with the citizens, but the government obviously has high participation stuff that they do. In an oligarchic, again, you have low participation with general citizens. Select citizens have participation because this is ruled by a few people. And then in a democracy, though, you have high participation from both the government and
if you're still in the building, will you come to the front office, Miss Barron?
Between the government and its citizens. They also have a high participation rate. Alright, types of economies. Told you this would be really quick. Three that you need to know: traditional, command, and market. And when these two types of economies are kind of blended together, we call it a mixed economy. And this is the way that most of the countries today exist. They have a mixed economy. A little bit of command, a little bit of market. This is typically something that we would see in ancient societies or in tribal societies and things like that. Basically hunter-gatherers, where they go and they have to find their own food. But all of these types of economies have to answer three basic economic questions. What's produced, how to produce it, and for whom to produce. So in a traditional type of economy, you got customs that answer those questions. Whatever's passed down from one generation to the next. In a command type of economy, you've got the government that answers those questions. And in a market, you have supply and demand and buyers and sellers that help to answer these questions. So in a mixed type of economy, you have a role that the government plays and a role that buyers and sellers play as well. So that's the kind of economy that we have. And remember, think about the economic continuum. If you had a communist government or a command government over here, and then you had a market economy over here, most countries fall along somewhere in the middle. Alright, here's a map that you need to know about in Europe, and just some of the countries you need to know: the United Kingdom, France, Spain, Germany, Belgium, Poland, Italy, Russia, and the Ukraine. And then geographical features you need to know: the Scandinavian Peninsula right here, Iberian Peninsula down here. You've got the Atlantic over here, and then you've got the Mediterranean over here. And if you remember some of the rivers, you've got the Danube River that flows this way, the Rhine River that is over here that goes through Germany as well. Those are some of the things you definitely need to know with Europe. And with this map of Canada, you can look at the political boundaries over here, but you need to know the Hudson Bay. You need to know the Pacific over here, the Arctic over here, and then the Atlantic way over here, surrounded by 3 major oceans. And remember that they speak French here, they speak English everywhere else. Alright, and Latin America, some of the countries you need to remember: Brazil, Bolivia, Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, Cuba, and then also Haiti, the tiny little island right over here. Andes Mountains, located right over here, and then next to the Andes, you got the Atacama Desert that you need to remember as well. And then this is basically the Isthmus of Panama, so the Panama Canal that connects the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic. Panama Canal is right in the middle of it. Lastly, you can look at the political features, the political boundaries in Australia, but some of the physical, geographical features you need to know. You've got Victoria Desert over here, Ayers Rock, that's kind of sort of towards the middle of the country, and then you've got the Great Barrier Reef right here, and the Coral Sea over here. Those are the 4 geographical features that you need to remember. All right, good luck on the CRCT.